Hello, welcome back. In this lecture, I will demonstrate the configuration for moment types. Moment types is a very important topic in sourcing and procurement module. SAP moment type is a three-character key which differentiates various material moments such as goods receipt, goods issue, transfer posting, vendor return, cost center issue, customer issue, and more. Moment type controls the important functions in inventory management, such as automatic account determination in the FI module. It also determines of which stock or consumption accounts are updated in the financial accounting. Here is the menu path to configure the moment types. I will also demonstrate you the configuration for record reasons for goods moments and copy and change moment types. So let us start knowing about the configurations which is involved in the moment types in SAP S4HANA. I'm on the SAP IMG screen. Now go under the node material management and then inventory management and physical inventory. Scroll down, go to the node movement types, expand it, and here you have the option copy or change movement types. Execute the node. Now you will have this field selection box. Now in this field selection box, either you can filter the moment types by marking the checkbox for any of them. For an example, if you want to display only those moment types that create the storage location automatically, then you can mark this checkbox and then press enter, and here you will have to enter further information. So you want to select only those moment types which allows the storage location creation automatically, then you have to answer it yes or no. So let us select yes and press enter to continue, and you will have the list of all the moment types that allows the automatic storage location, right? Similarly, if you go back and then execute it again, so similarly you can filter the moment types according to the selection which you want to make here. Okay, based on your purposes you will select the relevant checkbox. Okay, now if you want to display all the moment types, then in that case you can mark the checkbox moment types and then press enter to continue, and here you have to enter the range of the moment types. So if you click this button, you can further see what is the lowest moment type that exists in the system. The lowest moment type that exists is 101, and if you scroll down, so the maximum is 962. Okay, close it. Now enter the range as 100 and 2999 and then press enter. Now this will display the list of all the moment types. As you can see, the SAP has already provided a list of moment types for the various material movements. For an example, you already know that the moment type 101 represents the goods receipt, and you can further do the controls, such as you can control the printout settings. Okay, whether the printing the material document is allowed or not. So if we click this list button and take a look at what options we have, as you can see here, the number 1 represents the material document printout, number 2 represents the return delivery, number 3 goods slip for subcontracting. And similarly you can take a look at the other print options if you want to allow a particular one to the moment type, right? Secondly, you can mark the checkbox for automatic storage location. You see that if you want to use the automatic storage location, you have to mark the checkboxes for the several configuration options, such as a moment type and then under the plan settings. So you have different configurations to adjust to make the automatic storage locations work. Now we will take a further look at what controls are under moment types has. The next column you can see is for account control. So here the moment type also controls the account. If you click on this list button and take a look, you can see that it controls whether the GL account field is displayed or not. The account here represents a general ledger account in the finance module. If it is blank, it means the entry in this field is optional. And if it is plus sign, then it means that the entry in this field is required. Normally, this field is required when we post to any consumption account such as cost center or asset. In that case, we have to assign the GL account in the goods receipt. This is also controlled through the moment type. If it is a minus sign, it means the field is suppressed or hidden. If it is a dot, it means the entry in this field is optional. So whether it is a blank or a dot, both represents the same. Right? Now we can assign a control reason. After this, the next execution I will show you is where you can actually assign the reasons for goods movements. Now here, what does this negative sign means? It means the same as we saw in the account control. The minus signs represents that the field is suppressed. It means that if you have posted a transaction with the moment type 101, you cannot see the control reason. It should be suppressed because that's how the SAP is configured. Most businesses follow the same approach, whether the reason for the movement is not needed for the moment type 101. But in a special case, if your business requires, or if it is a normal in your organization to display the reason for movement, then obviously you are going to come on the screen and then choose the option either blank or the dot, so that the field can be displayed with the moment type 101. So this is the whole purpose for the reason for movement. Okay. Now if we scroll further, you can see the consumption postings. Now let's take a look at what G represents here. So G represents planned withdrawal or total consumption. We have further consumption postings, and if it is blank, it means no consumption update. So that's what the movement type is controlling as well, right? Now let us go to the next column. You can see here it is an indicator for requirement reduction. Requirement represents the material requirement planning for or MRP. If you remember, which I have showed you the material master. In the material master, there were 4 tabs for MRP. Okay, MRP 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if you mark this checkbox, it indicates the system is to check whether the requirement is to be particularly offset or reduced to 0 for the material document item in question at that time when a goods receipt is posted. Okay, that's what this checkbox is controlling. Now if we further take a look at the statistics relevant column, you can see that it indicates whether the moment type leads to an update of the statistics or inventory controlling, right? Let us click on this list button and take a look at what options it exists. Here number 2 represents the document evaluation and standard analysis update, right? The next one is check storage location expiry date. If we click on this if we click on this button, it says number 1. Okay, and the number 1 suggests entering and checking. So here you have to enter an input, then you can check whether the storage location is expired or not. Similarly, you can see the other controls under the moment type, and the automatic PO option is also controlled by the moment type besides the automatic storage locations, right? Now each moment type refers to a specific transaction or moment type postings. As you can see here in the list, by scrolling down, the moment type, which is, let us take 122, right? The moment type 122 represents return to vendor. As you can see, the reasons for the control is in positive, and that represents that entry in this field is required. So if you are returning the goods to the vendor, then you must enter the reasons, right? Further, if we take a look at the other dialog structure and the moment type, such as short text. So before we click on short text, first we will have to select the moment type and then double click on short text. Let us choose 101 and double click on short text. Now here you can enter the moment type text in different languages if it does not exist, right? The next option is allowed transactions. Here you can make an assignment between the moment type and the transaction code. Okay, if you further scroll down and take a look, you can see the moment type 101 is assigned to the transaction code MIGO. Okay, so which we will use to post to the goods receipt document. Okay, similarly you can double click on help text and this will display the help text in different languages, right? Now the moment type controls the field selection. As you can see here, if you double click on field selection, it also controls the fields to make them required entry or optional entry. Next we will take a look at account grouping. Double click on it. Now this account grouping, this is very important in terms of account determination in the FI module. I have already demonstrated this in the lecture on integration between the finance and sourcing and procurement module, but I will explain it again. As you can see, the moment type with the combination of special stocks, value of quantity data, moment indicator, consumption, value string, consecutive counter, account modification determines the GL accounts in the FI module. Let us take an example of one of them to understand this better. Let us take an example of 101. With the value update, quantity update and the moment indicator and the transaction is GBB and account modification is AUF. So first of all, we have to understand what is transaction code is and how it is used. Basically, the account grouping is used to determine the different GL accounts for the same kind of goods movements based on the origin and target. These combination differentiates the GL accounts when the moment type is matched with the other columns. The GL account is determined and every time it can be a different GL account. First, we will take a look at 101 transaction GBB. So double click on it and you will see the screen now, right? It will be easy for you to understand now. Offsetting entry for inventory posting AUF. Now on this screen, what does GBB means and what does AUF mean? To understand it further, I will remind you the transaction code OBYC. So let us go to OBYC, which I have demonstrated you to use to assign the GL accounts in order to perform the automatic account determination from the material management side. Okay. Now here, so go to GBP. GBP is the transaction key and these are the transactions, and if we take a look what GBP means, it is the offsetting entry for inventory posting. So double click on it, enter the chart of accounts, press enter to continue. Now if you see the second column, it represents the account modification or general modification. Here you can see the account modification key as AUF that determines the different accounts. In this example, it's the same GL account but it can be different as well. Okay, you can assign the second one for a different purpose as well. Okay, as you can see here we have different AUF general modification but value classes are different and the transaction is GBP. Now the movement type is one that is controlling these settings. When there is an offsetting entry for inventory posting by using the moment type 101, the moment type will determine the GL accounts assigned within the combination of AUF and if you see here WF01 as the values, right? So what does the value string indicates? It indicates the posting rule that always contains the same account assignment characteristics for a certain transactions or event, such as goods movement or an invoice receipt. The posting string is needed for the purposes of account determination, right? Moment indicator, click on this list button and to see what exactly it indicates. It indicates the goods movements for the production order. So that's how the account grouping and the moment type determines the GL account in the finance module, right? Now, if you take a look at the next activity, which is reversal or follow on moment type. Now here you can define the default moment types for return delivery against the original moment type. For an example, if you have created a goods receipt document using the moment type 101 and now you are returning the same items to the vendor, the default moment type that will be picked up in the return delivery will be 122. Right? This configuration can be assigned here on this screen. Okay. Now moving on to the next is reason for movement. Here we can assign the reasons for the movement against a movement type. For an example, the movement type 101 has two different reasons: poor poor quality and not identified. So here you can assign more reasons for movements by clicking the new entries, and it will be a big list if you want to assign more reasons for movements, right? Okay. Next we will go back to the movement type again, and similarly you can understand the configurations under the movement type. If you don't want to scroll down, and you can double click on it and you can see that the configurations and the other movement types. For an example, you have information from entry control, update control, internal control, and further settings under the movement type. If you want to create your own movement type, you can click copy to create your own movement types. Okay. One of the reasons your organization might want to create the own movement type could be if they are purchasing the same material from two different suppliers using the same movement type. Let us take 101, and they want to differentiate them in the report. Now, how they are going to differentiate? One way to do is to have two different movement types. For an example, if they are procuring a material from a wholesale supplier and the same material from the retail supplier, so they have to use two different movement types for both by copying the standard SAP movement type 101. Okay, if I click copy as and choose the movement type that doesn't not exist, okay, and I can save it to create a second movement type, the same configuration settings as a movement type 101, right? So I will move to the next activity. Go back. Now you can see here the record reason for goods movement. I have already demonstrated this under the node copy or change movement type for movement type 101. But if you do not want to work on the record reason for goods movements in this node, you can alternatively configure the settings under this node as well. Goods record reasons for goods movement, right? Now if you execute it and then click on control reason, you will remember that I demonstrated it in the other node how the control reasons for the movement can be suppressed, optional, or required. You can also do the control reason configuration under this transaction code, which is OMBS. Secondly, if you want to create a reason for movement, you can click on reason for movement. And here you can assign the reason for movement with the combination of movement type, right? The reason for movement will be the sequence numbers such as 1, 2, 3 for the same movement type. Okay. So that's the configuration you can do here. According to the business requirement, if you want to create a new reason for the movement, you can do it by creating it as a new entries. That's it. So this is all about the movement types configurations in SAP S/4HANA. Okay. Now I will proceed to the next configuration.